Youth organization, a top podcaster and a close ally of President Donald Trump of the US, was killed in full public view at the Utah Valley University. Videos that were posted on social media showed Charlie Kirk speaking into a handheld microphone while he was sitting under a white tent. And then a single bullet shot rings out in the air, and then you can see blood gushing out from the left side of his neck. He collapses onto the ground within minutes. Here's a blow-by-blow account of what happened in the investigation so far, because up until now, they've not been able to find the person who shot him from about 100 plus yards away from a neighboring building. A massive manhunt has been launched by the local police, assisted by the FBI, but so far, they've not been able to find the killer of Charlie Kirk.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Charlie Kirk, a well-known conservative American activist and a staunch ally of President Donald Trump, was shot dead at an event at Utah Valley University. He was 31 years old. Kirk was speaking to a large outdoor crowd when a single gunshot rang the air and chaos erupted. Kirk was on a speaking tour, and his stop at Utah Valley University was the first at least 15 scheduled events at universities across the country as part of his American comeback tour. Before the shooting, he was seated at his Prove Me Wrong debating table, taking questions from an audience outdoors. Kirk was going back and forth with a student about mass shootings and transgender people when he was shot. Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Kirk was asked. Too many, Kirk responded as the crowd clapped. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? To which Kirk replied, counting or not counting gang violence. Seconds later, Kirk could be seen clutching his neck as he fell from his chair.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
The crack of a single loud rifle shot sent the crowd into a panic. Students were seen ducking and rushing out of the university grounds, looking visibly shaken.
As the guy said, shooting or shooters or something like that, you just hear the gunshot and, I'm sorry, you just see his neck just open up, and there's just so much blood that just came out. It was horrible.
Currently, the campus is closed according to the university. Classes have been cancelled until further notice. A spokeswoman for the university said that Kirk was hit by a shot fired from the roof of the school's Losi Center, a campus building about 180 meters from the event area. It was not clear whether the shot was fired from a rooftop or from an open window. There was confusion about whether a suspect was in custody. A person of interest was taken into custody after the shooting, but according to FBI Director Kash Patel, the person was released after an interrogation.
We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual.
6 officers were working in the event, and there were more than 3,000 people in attendance. Kirk also had a private security team with him. Charlie Kirk was one of the most prominent conservative activists and media personalities in America, and a trusted ally of President Trump. He co-founded Turning Point USA, a non-profit conservative advocacy group, when he was just 18 years old. Kirk's group grew into the country's largest conservative youth movement, and over the years he became a central player in a network of pro-Trump influencers, often described as the face of the Make America Great Again movement. Kirk had 5.2 million followers on the platform X and hosted The Charlie Kirk Show, a podcast and radio program that reached more than 500,000 listeners each month. He also wrote a 2020 bestseller, The MAGA Doctrine. He was a prominent anti-LGBTQ activist. He repeatedly stated that women should prioritize motherhood over careers, and he consistently denied the existence of white privilege. Kirk was also a close friend of the president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr. He was also an early champion of Vice President J.D. Vance, as Trump was deciding whether the senator would be his running mate. Donald Trump often credited Kirk with bringing many young voters over to his side during the 2024 presidential campaign. Confirming Kirk's death, Trump put out a video message blaming the radical left for the killing and called Kirk a martyr for truth.
Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open and the country of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom. This is a dark moment for America. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
Charlie Kirk's ascent in conservative politics mirrored the rise of right-wing populism in America. The outspoken Trump supporter was never shy of expressing his views and was unwavering in his support for the conservative movement. His provocative style won him a loyal support base, but there was also fierce opposition.
It was one shot that killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk, believed to have been fired from a nearby roof. And officials who are leading this investigation say this was a targeted attack. Now, hours after this deadly shooting here at Utah Valley University, there's significant police presence. They're remaining vigilant as the suspect remains at large. A manhunt is underway in Utah following the Wednesday shooting death of 31-year-old conservative activist Charlie Kirk during a speaking engagement at Utah Valley University.
While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual.
Kirk was a rising star on the right, host of a popular podcast and co-founder of the political action group Turning Point USA. Known for having his finger on the pulse of the MAGA base, President Donald Trump credits him with galvanizing the youth vote.
This is a dark moment for America. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox calling Kirk's murder a, quote, political assassination, citing a string of recent violence motivated by politics, including assassinations in Minnesota, an attempt on the Pennsylvania governor's life, and assassination attempts on President Donald Trump during his re-election campaign last summer.
And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened.
There has been an outpouring of condemnation from both sides of the aisle, as both prominent politicians and average Americans grapple with the shocking violence.
Charlie shared thoughts and ideas, and he was silenced for those thoughts and ideas.
Over 3,000 people attended Wednesday's event, and now the FBI is urging the public to submit any photos or videos of that event as the search for the suspect continues. Reporting in Orem, Utah, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.